This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I've got Joe McCall, formerly Podio Joe, but I think maybe we've lost that name these days. I met Joe at Mastermind. What was it? What was the Mastermind, Joe?
Collective Genius.
Collective Genius, yeah. And I met a lot of really cool people there. In fact, that's where I learned to own a real business. I went there on purpose to figure out how to get out of my way, get out of my business, and make a business that runs. I can happily say thanks to Joe and a lot of people in that room, and maybe even some alcohol. Awesome. Even some alcohol. I was able to unwind and then rewind, let these guys rewind me back, and I have not seen the last 350 houses I've bought in my hometown, and I have not seen nor talked to the last 350 people that bought my houses. I'll do 120 houses this year, and I won't see any of them. But make no mistake, I'm in control. I got my spreadsheets. You know, I've been in this town for 24 years, Joe. I get this, Joe, I figured this out the other day. We did the math. I have bought a house in San Antonio, Texas, every 4 to 5 days for 22 years.
Wow. Every 4 to 5 days.
Out of my chair with that number, you know, it's like, holy crap, you know, like, where does it go? No wonder my forehead's now a 7 head. You know, geez.
My forehead's now a 7 head. What's mine?
So we met a Collective Genius. What a great group of people. You know, quarterly meetings, you know, really, It costs you $30,000 if it costs you a penny that year to go to that thing. Cause A, the seat's not cheap, and rightfully so. B, you can pay for your own hotel, your own flights, and C, we go out a lot in the evenings, and these people don't go to, like, you know, Whataburger or Burger King. These people go to nice places. You know? and it was fun though, huh?
Yeah, I don't think we ever went to Whataburger.
No. But so what, you know, when I was talking to you back then, man, that was quite a long time ago. Man, how was it? 8 years ago or 10? I don't know.
I don't know if that was long, but probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Is that really? Time flies when you're having fun. I know it's been over
8 years ago was 2011.
I know it was over 4 years ago, but anyways, you were doing a lot of Podio stuff, but you've always amazed me with your ability to travel around the world and do wholesale deals all over the place, you know, and do them from afar. One time I interviewed you a long time ago, and you were in an RV in Yellowstone or something, and you'd bought like a couple of houses that week and made more money than most people make at a job they have to show up to 60 hours a week, you know?
Isn't that awesome? This business allows you to do that. I have been fortunate. You know, it's actually really simple, Mitch. And we were talking about this before we started recording. But I heard this one guy talk about in his business how he set up his systems. And he says it's really easy. I just make a list of everything you got to do. And I ask myself a simple question. How can I do none of this?
Hey, I got to write this down. First, you make a list of everything you got to do, and then you don't do any of it.
Yeah. And he just asked the question, how can I do none of this? What a revolutionary concept. And so I started doing that in my wholesaling and lease options business. I said, all right, well, we got to do the marketing. We got to talk to sellers. We got to make offers. We got to take pictures and show the house and sell the house. And how can I get myself completely 100% removed from that? I had an acquisitions manager at the time. I thought the key to doing more deals and make more money was hire an acquisitions manager. And I did, trained him. It was hard work training him. Like at first, you know, man, he went from making $8 an hour at Home Depot.
Yeah, and then he left. And then he left you.
Well, he did, but that's another story. But here's what happened, though. He was all excited about making $3,000 per deal. Like he thought that was the best thing in the world. And I was trying to push him to get $10,000 per deal, right? The wholesaling profit. So finally I got him to $5,000. He was comfortable with making a $5,000 profit. Then I got him comfortable to making $7,000, but then $8,000. And then our average profit started being around $8,500 per deal. And we were doing 3 to 4 deals a week, which was awesome. But I was busier than ever, right? Like I was still going to the title company. I was still putting out fires. coaching him and answering questions from him all the time. Like every single deal is different. There was always something that came up at the last minute where it was like we had an emergency, had to fix something, pay for something to get it actually closed. Some buyers were, depending on what was going on with the buyers, something was going, like always just something. And I didn't like it. I mean, and then still at the end of the day, as I was looking at all my marketing costs and my paying the acquisitions manager and my overhead, I was still only netting 45-50% of the deal. And I thought, man, this is a lot of work for just 40% of the profits, which I shouldn't be complaining because that was still good. But then I just made that list. I said, well, how can I get someone else to do all of this for me?
Can I ask you, when you're complaining about the 40%, about what was that a month or a year?
$4,000 per deal on average, about 12 grand a week. So, 48,000 a month.
48,000 a month. Yeah. So I just want to get straight what he's complaining about. Okay.
I was complaining about the work involved, not the money.
Yeah. I just wanted to make the point though, Joe. That's all.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, to put it in perspective, isn't it sad too? Like, we're doing really well, the business right now. It's like, and it's like better than I ever have. And I'm looking at different opportunities.
The point is, though, son, I don't mean to jump in and interrupt you, but, making the money starts to be the easy part. The problem is, how do you get free and still keep most, if not all, or more of the money? And that becomes the new level of the challenge, which is you gotten to a point where that was your new challenge. How do I don't do anything and make this or more?
Yeah. So, I mean, the sad thing, too, for me, and like, I look at an opportunity and I can only make 10 grand a month doing that. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to waste my time. And I remember thinking back 10 years ago, if I could just make 10 grand a month doing this thing, I would be all over that. I'd be super excited. But the more successful you get, kind of sometimes the more opportunities come your way as well. And it becomes a challenge to figure out like, okay, I can't do all of these things. So what's the number one thing I could do? And this really comes back to what I was talking about. I was part of this coaching program called Life in Air at the time. And it was taught by a guy named Sean McCloskey and Steve Cook. You might know them. And they were teaching about designing a vision for your life first, and then designing a business around that. And so I started thinking about what do I want my life to look like? Like, I don't want to work super hard, 50, 60 hours a week, and then retire and then finally get to live the lifestyle when I'm 65. And then my kids are out of the house and who knows what they're doing. They're living all around the world. And like, I would rather live that lifestyle today. I'd rather go see the world now with my kids. We have 4 kids. I'd rather go see the world now with my kids. I'd rather go travel around in our RV while we have kids now when I can really like enjoy it. And I'm not, in really old and crippled or whatever, right? So
you really don't know how much time you have because you may not make it to 65.
Exactly. I heard so many stories of people like retiring at 65 and then dying a year later. Like, that's depressing. I don't want to do that. So anyway, I said, let's design a vision for my life now. Like, what do I want my life to look like now? I want to work from home. I want to be able to work from anywhere in the world. I want a mobile, independent business where all I need is my laptop and a cell phone, and I can run my business from anywhere in the world. And I'm not tied down to an office. I have low overhead, maybe just a couple employees. That's it. I have a bunch of VAs maybe. And I don't want like this big organism with 20, 30, 50 people and a big office and all of that. And so I thought, I want to be able to travel. I want my kids to be homeschooled. I want to have a nice house that's, we have this house that's on 3 acres. It's really private. And I thought, let's design a vision for our life first and then design a business around that, right? So that was this thing I thought, we want to travel. We want to go on an RV for 3 months. And then a year later, we went to Prague in the Czech Republic for 3 months. And I thought, I want to do deals. Like, how can I do none of this? And I thought, okay, for the marketing, I can get my assistant to do the marketing. Handling the calls, I can get a VA to handle the calls. And then now I had Podio. Podio is managing all the leads. I built the systems. And then I just went out and I partnered with local wholesalers, guys that I knew and trusted that were already doing deals. And I said to them, hey, listen, what if I brought you pre-qualified pre-screened leads. Could you get them under contract and sell them, and we'll split the deals 50-50? And I was working with 3 or 4 guys at the time, and they're like, yeah, that's a fantastic idea. They're not the ones that like to be handling a ton of leads. They get buried in Post-it notes and yellow pads of paper. They just want to be in their car or truck, driving around, looking at houses and talking to sellers. That's all they want to do.
There's some people that that's what they do. That's what turns them on. My business partner, my pal's like that. He don't want to do anything else. He wants to write contracts.
Exactly.
He likes that game.
So find that guy and say, listen, what if I did the marketing and I'll get my VAs to pre-screen the leads, and I'll just give you pre-screen motivated leads. You work them, you get them, you negotiate them, get them under contract and flip them, and we'll split the net profits 50-50. And that worked out great. We did that for a long time. And just
those guys, the challenge for them is how much can I get in a wholesale deal? They don't limit themselves. Like the ones that are really good at what they do, they'll let the predicament predict how much they can make or not make. They won't quell themselves. They won't say, oh, well, I got 3,000, that's good enough, and leave. They want to know how much is in every deal that they can get. Then, if you're a negotiator, you let that wholesale profit rise to wherever it can go.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I was making more money doing that than I was with my acquisitions manager and doing zero work. Here's the reason why. I was making more money. You say, well, Joe, you're splitting the deal. I said, well, I'm splitting the pie, but it's a bigger pie because these guys are better at negotiating deals, right? So, and they're meeting with the seller at the kitchen table. Like they negotiated a lower price than I would have gotten over the phone. And because they had good buyers, they were selling them at a higher price than I would have on my own. And so we're splitting the pie, but it's a bigger pie. And because I'm doing this with this guy, I can do more deals. So I've got more pies to split as well. So it just worked out where, and there's a lot of things that need to go on administratively and with systems and stuff. But people are worried, well, what if the guy goes behind your back and whatnot? Well, we wouldn't let that happen because I managed the leads. Like I owned the leads. All the leads were in my CRM, and I had to see the A to B side and the B to C side all had to be tracked inside of my CRM. And I had my assistant constantly following up with the wholesalers. So that's how we were able to travel and do deals virtually. I wasn't on the phone at Yellowstone talking to sellers. You certainly could do that. I just found somebody that could do that for me instead.
So in this scenario, are you responsible for the money, or are you just flipping contracts?
Just flipping contracts at this time, yeah. So
okay.
When I was doing a lot of lease options, when I first quit my job, I would be kind of the guy on the phone getting the sellers to agree to a lease option. But then once that happened, I would hand it off to I had a local realtor, a leasing agent that would find the tenant buyers for me. So, and that's the hardest part of the whole thing, getting advertising and marketing a property. So I had just hired a realtor to do it.
Yeah. So, let's talk about, you were doing it all and you were making $48,000 a month. Even if you're making $28,000, it doesn't matter. The point is, you got to perfect the system in a way to get above sea level, to get your head above water, and then your torso above water, and then you're all the way up to just your ankles. And then you have some R&D money, some research and development money, where you can go out and try some things that don't necessarily work, but you're not going under. And I think that's where a lot of people hit a roadblock. Is a lot of people will try to do what you're telling them to do, like right now, like right out of the gate. And it takes a little bit of a cushion. Do you agree or you don't agree?
Well, yeah, because you have to have some money to pay for the marketing, right? So you have to front load it with some investment of capital to pay for the marketing. And sometimes it takes, especially when you're doing direct mail and cold calling, it takes, 2-3 months to build up the momentum to get the leads coming in. And one thing you'll find out is that most of your deals come from the follow-up. So it's not the first time you talk to the seller. It's the 6th or 7th time that you talk to the seller.
We're on our 8th. We're buying things after 7, after the 7th call. After that, something happens, so we're tracking that. Also,
so many people forget that, Mitch, but that's the most important thing at this. It's like, you got to make sure you have the systems and the people in place that are willing to follow up 7, 8, 10 times with these sellers, because that's where the deals happen.
Yeah, and the more you can automate that, the better it is too. But that's a good CRM, and that stuff takes time too, and money. We've put together a hell of a Podio CRM with the use of Podio professionals. We drew the tree what we wanted to happen, and then we coach with the professional to get it done. Now it's taken 6 months, and it's been a royal pain in the ass. I mean, it's been horrible. Like, I was like, when can I get my hands on it? The whole office basically is going to function from that CRM, because as you click on, if you don't know how a CRM works, customer relations management guys out there, if you're new, a salesman gets a house under contract, he enters it in, or just gets a lead, it's entered in there. And then it's like, who takes it from here? Well, the sales guy is going to call, or the VA is going to call. And then once they've made contact, they turn it over to the closer. And then the closer's got to, and every time someone clicks on a button, the task moves on to the next person. Hey, we just got this house under contract, Shannon. It needs to go to title company. And it just starts bouncing around, and multiple people are getting multiple messages of this house is in this stage, and now you need to do this for that house. And it'll take about 80% of your load off your office if you get the right one and you have a good one and you built it with and everyone says, well, can I use your CRM? I says, my CRM's not going to work for you.
Yeah.
My office is not like your office.
Yeah.
The people I got doing this in this chair, you may have over in another chair doing 3 other things. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Let me give you and your listeners, not your listeners, not you. Let me give your listeners some advice, if that's okay. Sure. Like, a lot of you guys, you're just, you're a one-man show. Maybe you've got a VA. Maybe you've got somebody helping you on acquisitions. But like, this is so easy. This is one of the first things that you should automate. You should, first of all, you need to get away from your CRM. You need to step away from the computer, right? Your money is made on the phone, talking to sellers and making offers, right? So if so many people fall into the trap of sitting behind a computer for hours a day, trying to update the CRM with notes and tasks and follow up and trying to do it all themselves. That's $5 an hour activity. You need to get a VA as soon as possible to manage your CRM for you. And it's so easy. Once you find a good VA that manages your CRM, I use Voxer a lot. Voxer is a smartphone messaging app. It's like a walkie-talkie for your smartphone. And you can have it on an Android or iPhone or whatever. I can Voxer my notes to the VA. All right, hey, I just talked to the seller at 123 Main Street. And the CRM I use records the phone calls, right? So I can say, listen to the recorded phone call, take the notes from there. Remind me that in the notes, add that it's listed right now with the realtor. It expires in 2 months. Remind me in 30 days to call them back and follow up with them, and go ahead and send them a letter. Boom. I Voxer then the VA then gets that message, updates the CRM, and does the follow-up and reminder tasks and appointments and stuff like that for me, right? Then the VA, it looks into the CRM to see who's the next person that Joe needs to call. And then she sends that to me in Voxer. Okay, go ahead and call this seller. Here's the information. Or you could, one of the things you could do is in your phone, set up an email account that only your VA has, right? And so every seller that you need to call, she just puts all that information into the one email and sends you the email. And when you're sitting there in your car or wherever, at Starbucks, you look at the next email, you see all the information that you need to have on that deal, and then you call that seller back with the notes. Then you Voxer your notes, you Voxer your notes back to the VA, and then it's boom, you delete the email, go to the next email. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let's be clear. Voxer is voice driven, so it's safe to use in the car, when you have the automation, and you just tell him when he says, send them your notes, he's saying sending you, you're gonna tell them with your mouth into the speaker and send it off to them, a recorded message. I don't think tell me if you agree with this. I don't think there should ever be a one-man show if you're going into this business. You have to have at least one VA. It's just stupid not to have one. You can get one for $3 to $5 an hour, and the amount, there's no matter what level you're at, there's probably 10 things that they can do for you if you sit down and think about it that you're wasting your time on.
Oh man, and you touched my heartstrings here, because like VAs can do so much for you that you don't even realize. And the most important thing they can do for you is your marketing. There are so many things a VA could do for you. They could go and they could scrape data off of websites. They can go to your court websites and pull evictions, divorces. Sometimes you can get public information on utilities or probates, like if a utility's been shut off or tax delinquents. They can go get that data. Another thing I like my VAs to do is to go and find rentals out of my target zip codes. They go and they get the rentals that are in that zip code. They put them into a spreadsheet, and then they find out who the owner is and send them one-off letters. We send letters one at a time through click-to-mail with a picture of the seller's house to the seller, from rentals on Zillow. They can go and they can send text messages. They can send emails. One of the things we like to do is go find older listings on the MLS. And we send the realtor an email. Hey, we have this property at 123 Main Street. Is it still available? Looks like a nice house. Just to start the conversation, talk to the realtor and say, why isn't it sold yet? It seems like it's a good price. But we're looking for properties that need some work that only an investor would buy, that have been listed for 60 or 90 days or more, right? So then my VAs kind of start the conversations for me. And then when it elevates to a point where like, hey, I need to get involved, then I just kind of join in the conversation at that point. But your VAs, you could hire one full-time marketing VA. Almost everybody here could hire one full-time marketing VA and have that VA busy pretty quickly, 40 hours a week, just doing marketing, getting you free leads. It could be go to Zillow and send text messages to rentals and FSBOs, send emails to realtors, scrape data from the county court websites. There's 100 things that the VAs could do for you.
So one of the things to do for us is like there's 37,000 people that are delinquent on their property taxes in my town. So I don't want to deal with all of them. I just want to deal with the top 25% of those houses that tell me through the data that they have the most equity in those houses. So there's room to bargain with me, Yeah. Get rid of the ones that they got a new loan on it yesterday. There's no equity in it, or you can still buy those houses and make money, but that's not what I do, what is it, subject to or something. But sure. What I want to do is tell me the ones that, the mortgage is over 20 years old and put those in a spreadsheet for me, or over 15 years old. And it I don't know. There shouldn't be a one-man show ever in this business. I don't even understand it. You can't.
Well, that's the first thing you get a VA to do is the marketing. The second thing that you get a VA to do is update your CRM. Like, you shouldn't be the CRM expert in your business. Your VA should be the one that goes in there and manages it for you. You're only spending your time talking to sellers and making offers. That's the only thing you should be doing. And, I know some guys that, they chicken scratch their notes on a yellow pad of paper, but it's legible. And they just take a picture of their notes on that yellow pad of paper and send a picture of those notes to the VA. Or maybe you have a seller lead sheet, which with fields that you fill in, like bedrooms and baths and address and notes and motivation level 1 to 5. Like you can circle and write in these things. Take a picture of that from your phone and send it to your VA. Have your VA update the CRM for you. All right. And then what they can, like if there's a task or somebody that you need to call that day, they just send you like one email for each task first thing in the morning, and they only send you 3 emails. And it goes to an inbox that only that VA has. So the only emails in there are the emails from your VA, that things that you need to do. And then you call that seller, Voxer your notes or take a picture of your notes back to the VA, delete the email, go to the next email. And by the time you're done with those 3 emails, Voxer your VA back again, say, hey, I need some more sellers to call. But here's the whole point. You get away from losing your notes and yellow pads of paper and Post-it notes everywhere to immediately that gets inputted into your CRM by your VA. And a lot of times, like I like to make offers to every single seller I talk to. So even if they say, no, I'm not interested, I still want to send them something in the mail. And we send them a letter, we send them an offer, we send them a lease purchase offer or a cash offer.
We send a contract to everybody no matter what.
Yes, exactly.
You would be surprised how, even the ones that tell you to get the hell off their property, that you've insulted them with your price, and they're really mad. We even sent everybody. We still send whatever that offer was to them. You'd be surprised. In 8 months from now, they're going to call. They'll finally figure out the property's not worth $1 million, and that. And I remember some of these people back when this was happening. I'd say, that's the guy that really chewed my butt out and told me that damn near kicked me out to the street. And but I wouldn't acknowledge that. I say, well, great. I'm glad you called back. Why me? And so many times the answer was, you're the only one that ever bothered to send a real legitimate contract. So many times I heard that.
Do you send it in the mail or by an email or
every way? You know, it's all about touches, right? So I'm going to send it in the mail, and then I'm going to send it. Then like 3 days later, it's programmed to send out an email with the contract. Says, you know, I sent this out in the mail, but just in case you didn't get it, the physical contract in your mailbox, here's a digital copy.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Hey, can I show your audience how we do it real quickly? And I'm going to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are going to love this, and maybe you're listening to this, but or watching it, I don't know. But I'm at clicktomail.com right now, and it's so easy because here's the cool thing: your VA in the Philippines, and by the way, they should be working for you full time, you know, during your hours, like 9 to 6 Central Time or whatever, right?
They're used to that.
Yeah. Here's Click to Mail. I'm going to sign into my account real quick, and you have to preload credits. So I have like $50 in there at a time or something like that. I'm going to sign in. There's 2 ways that your VAs from the Philippines can send physical mail for you from the US, first class, next day. And so it's really simple because it's not like they're sending mail from the Philippines, right? They're sending mail through a website to the sellers for you, okay? There's something here called email to mail. If you go to, well, if you just log into your account, you'll see it here. It's called email to mail. And what email to mail is it allows you to send an email from a pre-approved email address to a specific click to mail email. And if you attach a letter or PDF, and then in the subject line, put the person's name, semicolon, address, semicolon, city, state, zip in the subject line of the email, you email that to Click to Mail. They will print the attachment and send it in the physical mail first class to the seller the next day. So all your VA needs to do now is create the letter in Google Docs or in Word, and then email that letter to Click to Mail, and Click to Mail will next day print that letter and mail it to the seller. And for a 1-page letter, it costs 80 cents. It's absolutely crazy, right? So this is Click to Mail, how it works. There's one more thing that you can do with Click to Mail. It's called Easy Letter Sender. Well, first of all, let me show you this link right here. It's called Email to Mail. And if you just Google Email to Mail, Click to Mail, you'll find this page here, and it explains how to do it. It's super easy. And you can see right here in this example, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Do you see right there? It's sent to Click to Mail from a pre-approved email address. And in the subject line, you have the name, semicolon, the address, semicolon, city, state, zip. And then you attach your letter, and it will print it and mail it to you. All right, now there's also one more thing I'm going to show you real quick. I'll show this to, I don't know how well you can see it, but this is a letter with, I'll show you here in a minute. There's something here if you go to Easy Letter Sender. It's called Easy Letter Sender inside of Click to Mail. And you can, what my VAs do is like if they're going to look at that we want to send a letter to a,
Hold on, Joe. What did you say to Google where it'll show you how to do that email to mail?
Just Google Click to Mail, Email to Mail. All right. And that'll take you to a page that teaches you how to do this in Click to Mail. Okay.
Is Click to Mail the number 2 or?
Yeah. Click to Mail, the number 2.
Okay.
All right. Then this is another service. It's called Easy Letter Sender. So if you just Google Click to Mail, Easy Letter Sender, you'll be sent to this page here. And what it allows you to do, so what I have my VAs do is they'll go to Zillow. I'm just going to go to Zillow right now. And I'll go into one of my favorite zip codes here. And I'm going to look for rental properties in that zip code. And let's look at this house right here. This has been on Zillow for 113 days. It's $750 a month rental. What's going on here? Maybe it's ugly. It needs some work, but I can, it's listed by some kind of listing agent or property manager, right? Well, I want to send a letter to the homeowner. And guess what? This rental property, do you notice something in these pictures? It's vacant, right?
Vacant and it's dated. It's outdated.
Yeah,
It hasn't
right.
been
So
updated.
there's a good chance that this seller might be motivated, right? So what I have my VAs do is they'll go to put this address right here, put it in a spreadsheet. They'll go to the county records, get the address, the name of the owner and the address of the owner. All right. Put it in a spreadsheet. And what they'll do is they'll go take a little picture of this house like this. I'm just going to screenshot that picture of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to save it onto my hard drive. All right, there it is. And then I'm going to go to Easy Letter Sender right here. And I'm going to send a letter to this seller with a
with a picture of his own house.
Of the house, right? So like, I'm going to stop sharing right now so you can see my screen. And this is what the letter looks like. It's just a letter with a picture of their house with a word across it that says something like, can I buy your house? Or is this your house? And it's a letter, right? And they open it, and you can pick yellow paper.
It's in a huge window envelope. That's clever.
Yes. And so here's the letter. I do it in old typewriter font, big and bold. Hey, sorry for being short, but I'm interested in buying your property at the address. If you're interested in selling, call me. Boom, that's it, right? And since I'm a realtor, I'll say on there, if your property is listed with the realtor, please give them this letter. And then my name and phone number. Now, you can do that. I'll share my screen again here. Your VAs can now do this super easily from here, right? So you can do a letter or a postcard. Let's just do a postcard real quick. I'm going to click Start Your Postcard. And here's where you just insert your image. I'm going to select an image to put in there. And remember, I just did a screenshot real quick of that one. I'm going to put it in there. And your VAs can do this from the Philippines, right? And this postcards cost 60 cents. And I can do fit to size. So there's now if I wanted to, I use, let me just show you something real quick. I hope you don't mind. Is this okay?
No, this is great.
I think your people will get a kick out of this. So I'll have my VA go to Google Drive, and we'll just create a new Google slide. Google Slides, this is free, right? And Google Slides like Google's version of PowerPoint, right? And so I'm just going to create a new slide here. Well, I'll just do it on this one. It's fine. Let me delete this stuff here. Okay. And I'm going to insert a picture from my computer, that one I just did right here. Okay. And I'm going to do I'm going to insert a little text box right here. I'm just going to say, is this your house? And I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to make it 50 font. Okay. I'm going to move it a little bit, make it bigger. Okay, it's too big. Let's do 45 font. And I'm going to make it red. I'm going to highlight it yellow. Still too big. Let's do 40. There we go. And I'm going to tilt it a little bit. Let's do it like this. Is this your house? Okay. Then I'm going to just do a screenshot of that like that. I'm going to save it on my hard drive. Good. Now I'm going to go here to Click to Mail, and I'm going to select a new image. So this is the picture that's going to go on the postcard. And there it is. Is this your house? And I can move this so that it fits in there. I'll do fit to size. There we go. Save. It's going to put it on the postcard like this, right? Is this your house? I'm going to say, I'm going to double click in here, and I'm going to say, hi, my name is Mitch. You wouldn't be interested in selling this house, would you? Call me at, thanks. All right, and now I'm gonna do this as a courier, font size 18, make it bold. Okay, something like that. And there it is. Okay, this postcard costs 60 cents. And oh, by the way, I forgot here, you can put a picture of the property right in here. Let me do one more image. I can put it right here. So it's the same picture. You could do another picture of maybe something that just rouses their curiosity, right? Like, I don't want it to be a boring little, so I don't know, something like that. And so it's going to then add that picture there. And then you put the recipient's address. So you can go to the county records and get the address of the owner, the name and address, and you just put it right there. So I'll just do 2977 Highway K, number 228, O'Fallon, 63368, save. So it corrects the address. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to proof this now. And it just adds this to the cart. And so if your VA is doing 20 or 30 of these, right, it just adds it to a cart, and then you can do all of them at once. But you can do this as a letter, like I just showed you here, or as a postcard. And here's a proof of the postcard right here. And the reason I said at the beginning you need to have credits in Click-to-Mail is because this they have a minimum $2 charge, but if you have prepaid credits in Click-to-Mail, they don't require that, right? So I could send this postcard right now for 60 cents. So what, now you could go to, like we have, if I go to Missouri CaseNet, we could go into Missouri CaseNet, and your VAs can go in here and they can look for all of the evictions that are going on right now in Missouri, right? And so I'm sure Texas has something like this. I could go to St. Louis County. I could pick a certain day of the week, and then it looks for all the evictions in that 7 days. Let's do civil. Boom. So once a week or once a day, your VAs could go in here. And some of these are judgments. Like you can see right here, breach of contract, landlord actions. That's an eviction right there. And this is an apartment complex. So if you wanted to, you could send, a letter to the apartment owners. I can go to page 5. There's 68 pages here of just crazy stuff, right? Like here's this company, REVI Rentals LLC, is currently doing 3 evictions on these tenants right here. Here's an eviction from the plaintiff. You can see who the plaintiff is. The plaintiff is the person doing the lawsuit, right? This is the owner. It may be an attorney, but here is the defendant. The defendant is the tenant that's being evicted, right? Well, guess what I have right here? I have their address. So I can send 2 letters. I can send a letter to the plaintiff, or I can send a letter to the owner of this property at 65 Alpha Drive in Florissant and say, hey, I can see you're going through an eviction right now. I'm sorry to hear that. If you'd like to sell this property and get it off your hands, I'll buy it right now as is with the tenant in there, right? Just call me and we'll talk. And your VA can do all of this right from here. So we can go get that address. I'm going to go here to look it up. And guess what? I'm going to get a Google map of this property, Google Street View. And I can go right here and my VA can get a picture of the house. I don't know if that's it right there, but let's just pretend it is.
Yeah. This is brilliant.
There, you got to pick, and I can put that picture on the postcard or letter. Hey, is this your house? Are these your tenants that you're evicting right now? I'd like to buy it. And then I can go into the county records, and I also use PropStream sometimes to get property data, PropStreamJoe.com. I can get the address of the owner. Let me just log in real quick to PropStream. I'm going to get the address of the owner. My internet's real slow because we're hogging up all this bandwidth. I think people are getting some value out of this, so I hope you don't mind me walking through all of this.
No, that's great.
Here's the property right here. Okay, so it has been listed at one time on the MLS, so I could use this picture. Okay. But here's the owner, Yeti Holdings. Here's their mailing. Oh, they're out of Denver, Colorado. Oh, yeah.
Out of state.
Yep, out of state. And they're going through an eviction right now. What if I sent, as soon as that hits the court records, your VA is sending them a letter with a picture of their house saying something along the lines of, are you tired of being a landlord? Are you tired of evicting tenants? What if we just bought, if you'd like to sell this house right now, we'll take it as is, and with the tenant in it, whatever. Give me a call. He gets this letter or postcard with a picture of his house the week that he's going through the eviction. You think maybe he might be motivated to want to sell you something? And he may be other properties.
One thing I would look for, but one thing I would really look for, it doesn't happen often enough, but when the last name of the plaintiff, it has the same last name of the person that's being evicted, which means it's a family member, and that means it's been heated and it's been very stressful. And those, a lot of times I'll buy those houses with the guy in it because the relative doesn't want to go through the heartbreak of doing all this stuff, and they'll just say, screw it, I'll sell the house with him and it won't be my problem anymore, and this guy's going to be the one to put him on the street, not me. And I would be looking for matching names of, for sure, but I don't know.
You can also go into court records and get divorces. You can get judgments. Like if somebody's getting a judgment for a $500 Target credit card that they've not paid yet, do you think they might have some financial difficulties right now?
Right.
Might want to just sell their house, which is interesting too, because look at this house. The plaintiff is in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and this property owner is in Denver, Colorado. So I don't know, maybe this is like the property management company that's managing it from Minnesota. But I would send a letter. It could be, well, the attorney's right here. They're in Clayton, Missouri. So one thing you could do, you could send a letter to this person, Beth Wampler. You could send a letter to the attorney, and the letter to the attorney could be, hey, I understand. I see that you're working with some clients and doing some evictions. If you have any clients that would like to sell their properties and just be done with them, please call me. I mean, I'd even like to buy this house. Let me know if there's anything that I can do to help you or whatever. And so then I would also send a letter to the owner of the defendant, the owner of the property of the defendant, right? And so your VAs can do all of this for you right from a computer from the Philippines. They can get a picture of the house, do something silly like this, and then go to click to mail and send it as a letter or as a postcard, and it prints same day. Now here it says $227, but that's not what it's going to cost. I'm going to show you here. I'm going to click proceed to checkout, and I'm going to do user credit, and it costs 64 cents to send that postcard. Now
let me ask you, what phone number do you put in there? Because a lot of people are going to say, and maybe in the beginning they need to, but a lot of people are going to say, well, that has to be my phone number. I have to take those calls. I know you're not doing that because you're way too free. So who are you? What phone number are you putting in there? And where's that call going?
Well, I have a CRM called REI Simple, and it's a CRM that I white labeled from FreedomSoft. It's amazing. And so every when I'm doing a campaign, I will I'll create a new campaign, and then I'll get a phone number for that campaign, a unique phone number. So like I have, so I'm doing some lease options right now in St. Louis. If I'm doing a direct mail campaign, I'll get a new phone number. It's $4 a month, and I'll get that. And every call that comes into that number will be automatically assigned to that campaign. And then from there, we can manage the lead and stuff like that. So if it's direct mail, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but I'll just make sure every different campaign of my direct mail has its own unique phone number, so I know where the lead came from, and it automatically puts it into my CRM here. And then I get and then it looks like this. I can see the statuses of all my leads, and here's where I can associate a phone number with that campaign. So REI Simple will record the inbound and outbound phone calls, and I can send and receive text messages to the sellers as well. So we use SMS a lot with texting the sellers. Hey, if we called and we got a voicemail, we send them a text. hey, I called you, left a voicemail. And then we can also put them into an autoresponder drip sequence where they get text messages and emails from us. And the other cool thing about this, we were talking about click to mail, right? Let me just give you an example of one of our leads where this was a property I was just messing around with in Herman, Missouri, little town. And I sent the seller a text message here. Hey, I saw your property at 402 Stark Boulevard in Herman on Zillow. You would okay, I meant to say you wouldn't be. I said you would be. You wouldn't be open to leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you? Thanks, Joe. They sent me a text back. It came through a different way, but that's my fault. I duplicated the record, the lead. It said, hey, thanks for your note. That's not our current plan, but I'll keep your info in case that changes, okay? And then I went and I sent them a letter. Now I went here to, I created a letter real quickly. I went to like this little thing here. I said, generate document, and I created a letter. And this letter, it looks like this. It's just a simple letter with my letter. And I could have created this with my logo, and I just haven't done that yet. But it's sent to the owner. Dear Catherine, I saw your house on Zillow. I'm an investor looking for more properties. You wouldn't be interested in maybe leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you? Give me a call. And this is my REI Simple number, right? So then from here, this is the crazy thing. I can actually, from here, if I just click email, remember I was telling you about click to mail, email to mail? Mm-hmm. From here, I can click, I have a mail template called email to mail. And I can just type in bot here and it'll, there, boom. If I click send email right now, it's attached that letter right down here, and it's put the information in that subject line. It's got the owner's name, property mailing address, property mailing city, state, zip. If I click send email, because it's coming from a pre-approved email address to a specific click to mail email, tomorrow click to mail will send that letter first class to that seller. And all I did was click a few buttons. And the other cool thing about REI Simple, the way I do it, I've already done it, but there's a button up here that says find owner. And when I click that, it pulls up the owner's information. I get their name and their mailing address right here. And so it's just great. I'm not trying to sell my CRM or whatnot, but like there are so many simple things that your VA can do.
So let me ask you, do you have this CRM for sale?
I only sell it to my students who buy my course. If you're interested in just getting it on your own, you can go get it from FreedomSoft.
But you've done a lot of modification to that.
Yeah, I've customized it for lease options because that's my thing. I teach lease options, and
do the whole process of what you just saw right now.
Yeah.
What's that course called?
Simple Lease Options is the name of my course.
Okay, Simple Lease Options.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm kind of interested, like for people who don't do lease options but still need leads, do you teach, or is there a way they can benefit from all of that computer moves that you just did with all those different resources tied together?
You know what, I've taught it and showed it before. I've been thinking about just creating a little $97 course teaching people how to do what I just did.
I would love for you to do that. That's a great, but when you say, I was thinking about making a little simple course, there is no simple courses, right? They take a lot of work.
Yeah, but that's not a bad idea. Let me think about that, Mitch.
I would love to help you promote that too, because that's what I just witnessed and you make it look so easy because you've done it so much. Yeah. They got to have the 1, 2, 3 steps for all of us monkeys over here until we can figure, make it a routine, but.
Well, here's the thing though. Some of you watching this and you're like, I have no idea what he just did. You could take a recording of this podcast, go give it to some high school kid, and say, hey, look at what Joe just did here. I want you to figure out how to do this for me. Or you can go to Upwork, and find somebody that's good with spreadsheets or databases and say, just watch what he did there and do it for me. And you'll find somebody that can do it. But I think that's a good idea, Mitch. I will create a little simple $97 course that just teaches people how to do marketing like that. And I think it'll be really good. I think people will appreciate that. It's actually is pretty simple.
Yeah, I understand. And you say that, but you come from a technology background, you know what I'm saying? So it could use some simplification for people not as savvy in tech with you. But the concept I get right away. It's easy. The concept's brilliant. It's easy to get your head around that. And the ability to just, could you imagine what your driving for dollars would be like on a day? You know, by the end of the day, you got 100 letters going out by, tomorrow. And as you're going, the VA's figuring out each house, and even driving for dollars has kind of gone extinct because with the amount of data that you can get these days just on the computer. But there's something to be said for getting out there and getting in your neighborhoods, and especially when you're new, getting the feel of all these neighborhoods and calling on the houses across the street for sale and becoming an expert in your territory. So many of the people we're talking to right now, Joe, are brand new or haven't even bought one house yet. And it does a lot of good to get out there and immerse yourself in your market and see what's going on and where the pockets are and what zip codes and what they look like and what they smell like.
Yeah.
So,
let me tell you a story. I had a friend, his name is Haim, super cool guy. I can't pronounce his last name. He's from Israel. And he was a virtual wholesaler when I was talking to him. He's still doing that, but he was doing this thing where he had an army of VAs, about 4 or 5 of them, that would every day, each of them would send 100 emails to realtors. All right. And he would get in about 3 different markets, and they would just send out emails to realtors, not sending a contract, but sending an email to realtors saying, hey, I saw this property you had that's been on the market for 65 days. Would your client maybe accept something in this price range? And they were just sending emails with making offers at like 65, 75% of list price, right? And consistently doing deals from that. There are so many things you could get virtual assistants to do for you to find deals for you. You just got to be a little creative. And it's a numbers game. It's just like you just overwhelm the market with your marketing. You're going to do deals. You're going to get leads.
I love that. You have to overwhelm the market, and you have to get someone doing it for you. And it has to be, I was telling everyone, I was talking on the podcast the other day. They asked me, what's the number one thing? I says, well, it's not one thing, it's several things, but the top 2 things are you have to be consistent. Like it has to happen every day. And then you have to be fast because it's competitive out there right now. So when someone raises their hand and shows an interest, I mean, you got to go. You got to go get the contract.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Hey, well, we were going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff.
We didn't even talk about that.
So that's okay. That means we need to do another one. But look, Joe's been around a long time, and he knows how to make money. We were going to talk about getting over that fear of doing deals outside your immediate market, even in another state, because that's been a big fear of mine. So I did 2,400 houses in my own town, but I have a big town also. And I also have a town that has affordable housing. There are people in Los Angeles and San Francisco and Nevada and other places that it's not conducive to do certain strategies in that area. So you have wholesaling and lease options. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you over, we're going to give you a free copy of a book called Pay for Shipping and Handling. Wholesaling lease options, okay? I want you to go to reinvestorsummit.com/McCall. That's MCCALL, and get your free copy of Wholesaling Lease Options. But also check out his Wholesaling Lease Options course, and then he also has a course out there called the Z Code, which he and a friend perfected how to find motivated sellers on Zillow. What is that? That's a $97 little junket here and there. But man, how many deals you got to do to get back $97? I mean, a fraction of a deal, So go over to reinvestorsummit.com/McCall, MCCALL, and check out what's over there. We're probably running out of time. I've kept you long enough, but there'll be contact information over there. Whatever Joe wants to put over there in the show notes. If you want to learn more about this guy, he's very, I don't use this word a lot, but he's been around a long time, and he's a genius at what he does. I mean, I don't use that word lightly, but you really are a genius, Joe. I guess you have your 10,000 hours in, huh?
I do. It's fun though. I so enjoy it. Right. And I just love hanging out with people like Mitch Stevens, who every time he talked to him, he's like, yeah, did 100 deals this month or something crazy.
maybe a year or so. I don't do 100 deals a month, but you know, I've also been around a long time too, and have my scars and have my 10,000 plus hours in. God only knows, but probably around 40, 50, 100,000 hours. Who knows?
I've never counted my hours. That would be an interesting activity.
I don't even know how you do that because, like Michener said, the master in the art of living knows not if he's working or playing. To him, he's always doing both, right? And so you couldn't separate my play from my work about 50% of the time. So,
yeah.
Like, am I working right now, or am I having fun talking to it? I'm having fun. I mean, I would talk to you whether there was a podcast or not about all this stuff, you know. But that's how I'm wired.
That's fun.
I started talking about real estate 24 years ago, and I haven't stopped.
I'm only 10 years into it, Mitch. So I'm hoping I'm as passionate and energetic as you are when I hit the 24-year mark.
Right. Well, you did it a lot more effectively than I did. I spent the first 10 years banging my head against brick walls. You know, you guys are way ahead of me, but you know, some of us take a little longer. Some of us take a little less long, you know, but all right, my friend, this is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. I want to thank everybody out there for stopping by to get you some Joe McCall. And please follow up reinvestorsummit.com/McCall. Get a free copy, pay shipping and handling, and get a free copy of his book, Wholesaling Lease Options. Check out the Z Code, how you find motivated sellers on Zillow. And I really appreciate you, man. It's wonderful, the conversation we had, but it wasn't nearly what we were going to talk about. But I'll get Julie to reschedule you, and because I really do want to talk about your wholesaling lease option strategy.
Cool.
But we just didn't get to it today.
All right, that's good. That's fine. I think this was really helpful.
It was very enlightening. Thank you very much. All right.
All right. Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch Stephen, I'm out of here. See you, Joe. Bye now.
Bye-bye, guys.